You asked me how it was that Gary Usher signed the Firesign Theater. Here's all that I remember about that, and some of it is probably not right. Phil Austin had done a record called Duckman.
The Adventures of Duckman and Ganders. Savior of the downtrodden, protector of the poor, defender of right thinking, Duckman, with his inseparable companion and guide Ganders, nightly speeds on his rounds through Blossom City fighting crime, blasphemy, and bad people. Return with us now to those frightful days of yesteryear with Duckman and Ganders.
I don't know. And Gary Usher knew that Austin was working with Oz, Radio Free Oz, Peter Bergman's radio show on KPFK. So he wanted to do a Radio Free Oz record.
And let's tell him that what we want to do is called the Oz Firesign Theater, because that's the thing we think of that we're doing on the air as being the most fun. And we looked at each other and said, yeah, the Oz Firesign Theater is these four guys, right? Right.
Because it was his idea that we were going to become the Beatles of comedy.
We were kind of like spreading the word a bit, and all of a sudden got a telephone call from Disney's lawyer saying, "We own the word Oz."
Yeah, but we said we own the word lawyer.
Yeah. That confused them only for a day.
But it was enough. We slipped through. Yeah. Most of you are probably being sued by Disney as of tonight. We escaped.
Yeah, so I said, "Oh, you do?" I mean, like a fool. Like, you know, we didn't have a lawyer, so he said, "Oh, you do? Well, okay, we won't be the Oz Firesign Theater anymore. We'll just be the Firesign Theater." And they said, "Fine." We found out later that they don't own the word Oz. Nobody can own a word. They can own things that have to do with the Wizard of Oz, etc., because they bought that. We didn't know what we were going to do. We got together to write, and the first thing we wrote was kind of a takeoff on Kafka.
We developed a writing style that was extremely self-indulgent. It was a masterpiece of self-indulgence. We would, and just as someone just said, we would take hours in the studio doing something and then decide we didn't like it and then go off and write for 2 weeks, or sit and write all night in the studio, all this kind of stuff. And the odd consequences of that initial contract, I think, developed the way we write. We've never been able to not do that ever since. That's a good sentence. And we even today, as we were working today, I noticed as a writer, you come in with your little sheet of paper and you say, "Boys, I think you'd really be great doing this," and you walk out a half an hour later and the piece of paper is shredded and ripped, and everybody works over, all four of us tend to work over every word. What's that?
Well, see the little lines.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can't see it too well.
It's English.
Believe me, it's a lot funnier now.
So we always say we write, but in fact we kind of nitpick each other to death, and what comes out hopefully is funny.
And these are the kind of top-level literary discussions we have among ourselves to create this fabulous material that you're watching right now.
We'll draw you a picture later.
Yeah.
Well, waiting for the electrician or someone like him. You know, it was the first piece that we did together, and that was, I mean, we did that as an improvisation in a situation like this at UCLA.
Yeah.
Right. Purely improvisational. We pretended that we were
The Bulgarian Theater in Exile.
Right,
National Theater in Exile.
Bulgarian Theater in Exile. Because
We were actually.
We were.
Bulgarian Theater. If you remember '67, everyone was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That had been hounded out of Bulgaria because they were too avant-garde, and so they were trying to do a show here. And we were all dressed in black like beatniks, and we did a lot of mime because, of course, we didn't speak English. And it was really the story of it touched on two things. First, the political problem of the Soviet satellites and how creatively they wanted desperately to break away from the dictatorship of the Soviet regime. And many of them did it by when they go on tour and then they just say, "We're staying." Okay, so that was part of the inspiration for that.
And of course, the piece that came out of it that we put on the record was all about an Eastern European country that was going through a revolutionary change. And of course, Lech Walesa, who turned out to be the president, was an electrician. Was an electrician.
For an electrician. That's true.
You know, that was pretty scary.
Yeah.
or electrifying, or, you know, the electorate put him in the office. I mean, it goes on and on. I mean,
Go.
yeah, well,
It's really, yeah. Keep going, man. Juice.
He wants to know, how did you guys break into records? Well, it was in 1930 that the Firesign Theater broke into records when we got a record contract with Columbia. And so we went down to Bogota, the hot wax capital of the world. And there we made our first big record. Because we were cunning linguists, they gave us... I tell you, it's the... We broke in as spoken language artists, making Turkish language records. And they started something like this.
This is side 5. Follow in your book and repeat after me as we learn 3 new words in Turkish. Towel, bath, border. May I see your passport, please?
Yes, I have it right here.